guys, welcome to Made by Britsie, episode number 2. If you caught my first episode a couple of weeks ago, thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to be back, and I've got a lot more to share with you guys. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at MadebyBritsie. I'm usually more active on Instagram, but I'm trying to be better about posting on Ravelry, and I'm sure soon I'll start like a group for the podcast. But for now, if you need to get in touch with me, message me on Instagram because that's where I'm usually at. But I did just become kind of active on Reddit. Normally I just browse like the knitting thread and the sewing thread, but I actually just posted something the other day and got a lot of positive feedback. I was really nervous because I know Reddit can be kind of brutal, or I guess the internet in general people can be kind of harsh. So I was nervous about it, but everyone was super nice, and it's really, I guess, the community that I've been looking for as far as social media. Everyone is just like really engaged, like asking questions about the project, and it's just really cool. So I'll definitely I'm going to be posting more stuff on there. But if you haven't checked out Reddit, you should, because it's just really cool to see what everyone's working on. They have a thread for like works in progress and finished objects, and there's like a thread for like promoting your blog. I think buying, selling, and like trading, I guess, yarn or like knitting supplies or whatever. But there's just a lot of things happening on there, and it's really cool. So I was happy to kind of find that out about Reddit, because like I said, I'm normally kind of like on the sidelines just browsing. But I found a new community to be involved in, and it's pretty awesome. So first off today, I want to talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Mount Pleasant top by nodecker, and it's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. And let me just start off by saying that I love this pattern. I'll definitely be knitting at least one more of these in a different color, obviously. But I love this top. It's a little crop sweater with a lace panel at the bottom, which I love. And I've gotten so much wear out of this. This is probably one of my most worn hand knits to date. So the pattern calls for 2 inches of positive ease, which is great because it goes well over tops or like dresses. But it can also be worn with, like on my Instagram, the picture I posted was with a high-waisted skirt, and it goes really well with that. So I'm super happy with this pattern. I give it a big thumbs up. So I knit this in the Madeline Tosh Twist Light, which is a 75% merino wool and 25% nylon fingering weight yarn. This is in the liquid gold colorway, and I knit the small, and it just took a little over one skein, which is great because it makes it a really affordable project. And so this is how much I have left of the second skein, and I've even used some of this. I used this for the first color in my Find Your Fade, and I've used it for heels and toes on some socks, and I still got like a pretty decent amount left, which is great because I love this colorway. I'll stand up in a second and give you a closer look of the pattern and the yarn. But I love Madeline Tosh. I know there's a lot of great yarns out there, but I really love all of her colorways, and everything that I've knit up with her yarn has just held up well so far, and I just really, it's one of my favorite yarns. So anyway, this pattern starts off with it's knit from the bottom up, and there's a lace panel at the bottom, and then you go into stockinette in the round, then you increase for the bust, and then it's got little cap sleeves, which I love. And I guess the only modification I made, the increases on the side, the pattern calls for make 1 increases, and I don't know why, but it took me until the third increase round to realize that it was leaving little holes. So I decided to switch to knit front and back increases, and that worked out perfectly. So when I knit my next one, I'll be doing knit front and back for all the increases. But yeah, so as you can see, it made little holes right here, and then I think the third increase was up here, and there's no holes. So yeah, that's the only modification I made to the pattern. And this is great. A great, I feel like, not beginner sweater pattern, but maybe intermediate, or definitely between beginner and intermediate, because it really was super easy, super quick, which is great because my attention span for projects can sometimes be a little short. So yeah, I love projects like this. They're just long enough, but not so long that I get bored. So for the second segment, I'm going to talk about my finished objects, which I have one this week, but it's a big one. So I talked about this in the first episode, and I said I would probably be done with it, or I was hoping to be done, and I am. So this is the Find Your Fade shawl, which there's no way I'm going to be able to show this whole thing at one time, so we're just going to do kind of like a little drive-by. Yeah, so here we go. It's probably a pattern that either you're familiar with or have knit yourself. Everyone knows, the Find Your Fade. And I will say I have, now that this is finished, I feel like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this thing. I've been working on this since, I think, last June when we went on a cruise, and I stopped for a while. I mean, once I got closer to the end where, I mean, you have, I think close to 300 stitches on your needles, and I mean, I'm not a slow knitter. I think I'm probably average, but it took me it was taking me like 15 minutes to get across each row at this point, like for this red section. And I was just so burnt out. It's like, when you spend too much time with someone and you just need a break, kind of feel that way about this now. And I'm regretting my color choices. But I think once I, kind of step away from it for a little bit, I'll come to like it again. I think, yeah, I was just getting burnt out there at the end and just really wanted to be done. And, so I guess I should start off by saying that, I did kind of like a gauge swatch. I mean, normally I wouldn't do a gauge swatch for a shawl, or I guess my dirty little secret is that I hardly ever do a gauge swatch for anything, which is horrible, and it's definitely gotten me in trouble a few times. But anyway, for this, I wanted to see how the colors I chose were going to play together. So I just knit up a little garter stitch swatch, just to see, kind of get some ideas for how I wanted to put the colors together. And I didn't end up going with this combination, or I used some of them, but not all of them. And I kind of wish I had done this for the colors I ended up going with, because I'm not loving, how the colors at the end faded together. I wish it was more subtle. Yeah, I'm really happy with the beginning. Like, I love, this is that Madeline Tosh yarn that I used for this. So I'm really happy with how this faded into this, and how the second color faded into the third color. But then after that, it starts to get a little sketchy. And I mean, it's totally fine. I think I will definitely wear this. But I just, if I were to knit it again, which I won't, it's not the pattern's fault. It's just, it's the biggest project I ever knit, and the biggest project I ever will knit. And for me, it was just too much. I was ready to be done. So, But in retrospect, I would have picked different colors, and I might have even have altered it to make it a little smaller, because I'm about 5 feet tall, and this is like 1.5 times my size. So it is a little overwhelming for my frame. Like if, I kind of have to wear it. It's kind of like a big blanket. Which I don't know how much use I'll get out of this, because I usually tend to wear more like the smaller triangular shawls. But I mean, I can see myself wearing this when there's a lot of food truck parks in Austin, and one of our favorites is just maybe a mile or two from us. So a food truck park is like an outdoor park with a lot of different food trucks, and you hang out, and you're eating outside. They show movies at the one by us every Thursday night, so sometimes you're sitting out there for a couple of hours, and it can get chilly, even in Austin. So this would be good, because it kind of be like a blanket when I don't want to just like show up with a blanket. So yeah, I can definitely see myself wearing it in situations like that, but I don't think it's something I'm not going to be like taking this to, I always get cold in like restaurants and bars and stuff like that, and I don't think this is something I want to be like hauling around with me everywhere, but I definitely will get some use out of it. But I am very glad to be done with that. Now I can start something else. And there's a lot of projects in my queue. So yeah. So next I want to talk about my whips, or works in progress. I do have a couple of socks to show you. Spoiler alert. It's still so weird feeling like I'm a sock knitter, because as I mentioned in the first episode, I never was really into knitting socks, but after I knit my first pair, I've been hooked. So yeah, I have this one. It's a sock that I started about a week ago, and I've just been carrying this in my purse and kind of working on it on my lunch break, or like when we're at the bar, and even attempted to knit this at the movies, which did not go so well. I had to rip out a few rows and redo those. But yeah, this is just something, I don't know, I like always having a small knitting project with me, and this is great. And it's a self-striping yarn from Knit Picks. It's the Felice yarn, which I've heard a lot about and a lot of people use, but I've never used it myself. This is the hopscotch colorway, and this is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. Yeah, I thought these colors were really fun, and I love a self-striping yarn. I feel like they knit up really quickly. So one thing I did discover is that I think I'm knitting these on 9-inch circulars, and I know a lot of people don't like the 9-inch circulars. They do work out well for me, and I think so I am doing 60 stitches, and I think doing it that way, so I cast it on like on a circular, or I'm sorry, I cast it on with magic loop, because the cast on row can be hard on these, because there's not enough slack in the stitches to really get them around the needle. So that can make it tough, because you're pulling the stitches around, and it can like really be a struggle. But once you get the first row done and you have, more slack, then it's really easy. I feel like with 60 stitches to make it all the way around. And I love the circular needles, the 9-inch circulars, because it just knits up so quickly for me. I just never really got into magic loop. I don't like the extra step of like shifting, to the other side or whatever, like pulling the needle through. It just seems like it takes so much time, and this works out well for me, so I think I'm gonna stick with that. And I do use DPNs quite a bit, but for now I'm just on this kick, and I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah, so hopefully by the next episode I'll probably have a finished sock for you. But like I said, I'm just knitting this like on my lunch break, so not putting too much pressure on myself to finish these, but I do like how they're knitting up. I like the fabric that it's making, and just really like the bright colors, since it's, I don't know, kind of springy. Anyway, so the next sock I have is also another self-striping yarn. This one is really cool because it's the wool-free sock, and it's by Premier Yarns. So this yarn is 93% acrylic and 7% PBT, which I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure it's something similar to nylon to give it like a little stretch. But yeah, this is really cool. I picked this up because I really liked the colors. Yeah, I don't know, that just really caught my eye. And it's knitting up like in such a cool way. It reminds me of like the Arnie and Carlos yarn. I hope I'm getting that right. But anyway, it just reminds me like the way it has like the designs and some of the stripes. Just really like that. So I'm to the hill, so I switched to DPN so I can do my fish lips kiss heel. But yeah, this sock is going so quickly. This yarn is just so different. I don't know. I've never knit socks out of anything like this. So I'm really intrigued and excited to see how these turn out. And I'll definitely go into more detail once the sock is done, and and I can see how it fits and kind of how this yarn wears. But for now, I'm super excited about these socks. And yeah, so I did have to get 2 balls of this yarn to make a full pair of socks, but each ball, I got this at Hobby Lobby, and it's only $4.99 per ball, so I feel like that's pretty affordable. So the next thing I have to show you is something I talked about on the first episode, and I thought I would be done with it, and I'm not yet, but I'm so close. This is the Deschain top by Leila Raabe. And this is also a paid for pattern on Ravelry. So I'm on the second sleeve. I've switched to US size 10.5 DPNs, which is really kind of awkward knitting on DPNs that are this kind of like, they're just chunky and clunky. But the sleeve is really short, or well, I guess it's about 8 inches, but it knits up quickly, so it's really not a big deal. But I am so close to being done with this, and I cannot wait because I think I love everything about this top. So it's a cropped boxy sweater, which for some reason crop tops just tend to fit in really well in my wardrobe. So you'll probably be seeing, quite a bit of these like in the future podcast. But yeah, this is just, I love this pattern. I love the lace panel in the front. And I've tried it on, and it fits really well. It's just kind of loose and flowy. The yarn isn't the yarn that they recommend for the pattern. I think they recommend Quince & Co. Kestrel, but my local yarn shop didn't have that. So they recommended something else, which is the Barocco Elbow yarn, which I was totally fine with because it was a lot cheaper, and I really like how it knits up. It's just a really cool yarn. I've never really knit with anything quite like this, but it makes a really like heavy fabric, but it's still flowy. It's got a nice drape to it. I'll show you this a little closer. Yeah, I just love the fabric that it's making. Definitely should have this done maybe even tonight, but I'll definitely post pictures soon and show you the finished product. But yeah, so far I feel like this pattern is great, and I definitely recommend it. If I know it's pretty popular right now, so if this has been something that you've been thinking about making, I definitely think you should give it a shot because it knits up quickly. So not a huge time investment on this one, and I feel like this would just be it's just such a fun, cute top. So now we've come to, which is honestly my favorite part of when I watch podcasts. I always look forward to this part. But we have stash enhancements. So yeah, I don't know why it's so fun to see the yarn that other people have bought. Usually leads me to purchasing more yarn well, we always need more yarn. What am I talking about? But anyway, okay, so I actually. Let's see. So in January, I had a little challenge for myself where for the whole month I wasn't gonna buy like yarn or fabric. And I did pretty good until like the very end of the month. I think like the 26th. It was a Friday, and I knew Kristen from Yarngasm was having a shop update. And yeah, I don't know. It's usually hard to get her yarn. If you've ever tried to buy any, you know that her yarn sells out and, like probably usually the first 5 minutes. And you usually get cart jacked. So I think maybe I wasn't like, I just wanted to like look, and I probably thought that I wasn't going to actually end up getting the yarn. But luck was on my side, and I was able to get a colorway that I've been wanting for a long time. So anyway, I just slipped up once. But I'm happy that I did, because this came in the mail and I just love this color. It's gorgeous. So this is her Fig Bash colorway. Here's her tag, Vine yarns. So it's in her Volca base, and it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. 4-ply fingering weight yarn. So this is so soft and squishy, and maybe I'm drawn to this because it's got that mustard color that I love. Oh my gosh. Everything I knit is gonna essentially be the same color, but I'm fine with that because I love this color. Yeah, so let me show you some of these speckles because, oh, they're just so pretty. Okay. So there's just so many awesome colors in here. I feel like the camera's doing a pretty good job of capturing it. Think it's a little more vivid than it's showing up, but she's got like a lot of speckles in here, which I love. So you've got like this mustardy color, or like a golden color, and then you've got like a lot of the natural like cream color, with like blue speckles, hot pink speckles. There's like a section in here like a grayish blue. It's just so pretty, and I'm not gonna lie, it was packaged so much nicer when it got shipped to me, but I've just been like oohing and awing over this, and in the process kind of destroyed her nice skein that she had twisted up. But it's okay because I'll wind it into a ball soon and it won't matter. So the next one I have to show you, which spoiler alert, if you watch a Homespun House with Molly, she does her yarn club, which I signed up last year, and this is the January colorway, which I feel like, I mean, it comes from Germany, and I live in the U.S., so I feel like I'm probably one of the last people to get the yarn. So if you signed up for this, you probably have your yarn yet, but just in case you don't, and you don't want to be and you want to be surprised, then turn away for a little bit, because this is the January colorway of it's the Harry Potter yarn club from a Homespun House. Yeah, so I was super excited to get this because I've never done been a part of anything like that where you don't know what you're getting. So I was super excited to get this in the mail because I love everything she dyes up, and I just knew I would love whatever color she chose. So let me take the tag off. Yeah, so this is called the Night Bus colorway, which if you're familiar with the Harry Potter movies, I feel like this is very fitting. see if I can get... So the base is a light pink, and then she's got like colors that I wouldn't think to put together, but they work really well. So you have like this neon yellow, you've got like dark blue, some green, some like magenta, I guess. Yeah, I just really love how all these colors play together. This is a 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon yarn. Super soft. Not sure what I'm going to knit out of this yet. I do have 2 more months coming to me, so I'll probably wait till they all come in and then try and put them in a project together. But yeah, I love Harry Potter. I love all things Harry Potter. So when I saw that there were still spots available for this, I jumped on board, and I'm so happy that I did, because it's really nice to get stuff in the mail, and it's even nicer when it's yarn, and it's even nicer when it's a surprise. So yeah, I've got something to look forward to for the next 2 months. Yeah. So next I want to talk about what I've been sewing. This is a pretty popular pattern right now. I've seen it all over Instagram and on the many sewing podcasts that I watch. So I've been wanting to make this for a while, and I'm really excited to finally have started on it. This is the Butterick Patterns by Gertie, and it's the B6413. So this dress was inspired by a dress that Marilyn Monroe wore in the movie Niagara. So it's got a really cool 50s vibe, which is right up my alley. So I did my research, and I know a lot of people were having issues with the fit, especially on the bodice of this dress, because it does have this little cutout right here. And I think, you know, for bigger busted women, they were having the issue with underboob. So I normally am not one to make a muslin when I start a project, which is horrible, but usually when I'm excited, I just want to go ahead and get started, and I tend to not do things the proper way by making a muslin, but so far it's seemed to work out. I know that with the big 4 patterns, they usually allow for more ease than I prefer. So I'll either make a size or 2 smaller than what it recommends, or I'll make the size that it recommends, and then usually I just have to cut a couple of inches off in the back, and then I get a pretty good fit. But I don't have extra fabric for the dress that I ultimately want to make, so I did make a muslin just to be sure that I didn't mess things up. But this actually is a wearable muslin, so I really like that, because I'm going to turn this just into a top instead of the whole dress. I'm just going to finish the hem and close up the back somehow. Probably not with a zip, because I'd have to do a separating zipper, but maybe there's some buttons or some iron hooks. I don't know, we'll see. But this is probably the first pattern that I didn't have to do a muslin for, because I got a perfect fit on the first time. I did do one size down than what it recommended, but I got a great fit. It's a super cute top. It's kind of like off the shoulder a little bit, so I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I went ahead and cut out the pieces for the dress that I'm going to make. So the fabric that I have that I've been holding out, I've had this for a while in my stash, and with Valentine's Day coming up, I realized that this would be perfect, and I've been wanting to make this dress, and I thought it would be super cute together. So this is the fabric. I got this at a fabric store in Boston called Sophisticated, which is one of my favorite fabric stores. If you live in or around Boston, you should definitely check them out. They've got 3 locations. It's family owned and operated, and I think the mom runs one, the dad runs one, and the son runs one, and they all pick out the fabric for their own locations, at least as far as I know. So each location kind of carries different things, but I like all of them. I found really great stuff at every location, and the prices are amazing. usually the quilting cottons are $3 to $4 a yard, and they carry cotton and steel. I see a lot of, and then there's another one that I see a lot of, a really popular one, but I forget the name of it. Anyway, I love this fabric. There's nothing I love more than a themed dress. Not that I ever really need an excuse to make a dress, but I love having a special occasion to sew something up. And yeah, this is just perfect for Valentine's Day. So yeah, I will have that finished by Valentine's Day, and the next podcast should be up by then or shortly after then. So I'll definitely have pictures, and I can give kind of a better review of the fit once I make the entire dress. So super excited to share that with you guys. But that's it for today, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.